at the number of hours in a day that you spend sitting?
Let's say a minimum of 8 hours at work, 2 hours watching television at home, and that makes it 10 hours a day, 70 hours a week, 300 hours a month, and 3,600 hours a year.
Now you may not have calculated this either, but there are a total of 8,640 hours in a year, out of which we spend 3,600 hours sitting. But can something that looks as harmless as sitting be bad for you? The answer is a big yes. Prolonged hours of sitting can kill you even if you get exercise every day. We'll explore just how in this special edition of Living It Up.
A recent study in the journal Diabetologica analyzed more than 7 lakh people and found that sitting for long periods increases their risk of diabetes, heart disease and deaths. Another study from the University of Sydney found that sitting down for 11 hours or more per day increases your chance of dying within 3 years, whether you exercise or not. Now that may be a bit of a stretch, but experts in India, like Dr. Chahat, are saying it's time to stand up to the sitting epidemic.
90% of our time they are spending on sitting. Everybody is aiming at a good office, a lavish chair, a good couch, but they are not realizing that sitting is actually killing them. It's causing nerve injuries, cardiovascular diseases, vascular diseases, your spondylitis, your nerve pain, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis in later stages. So name it and it's there.
Right. So here's what would happen to my body if I spend most of my time sitting.
Right after I sit down, the electrical activity in my muscles slows down and my calorie burning rate drops to 1 calorie per minute. Within 5 days, an enzyme in my body that converts bad cholesterol into good drops by 95%. This means my muscles will not utilize the fat and my blood sugar levels can go up, putting me at risk for weight gain. After just 2 weeks, my muscles will weaken. This makes stairs harder to climb and walks harder to take. Even if I were working out every day, the deterioration starts the second I stop moving. After a year, I'm at risk for both insulin resistance and high cholesterol. Sitting for over 6 hours a day for a decade or two can cut away about 7 quality life years. It increases the overall risk of prostate and breast cancer by 30% and the risk of dying of heart disease by 64%.
Sitting jobs are giving rise to another epidemic of sorts, especially in women, that of abdominal obesity and, believe it or not, infertility. Priyanka Vadera discovered this the hard way.
When the first time I hold her, I breastfeed her. It was such a feeling, I don't have words to describe that. Now my life is all surrounded with her, running after her. I think she is nature's liposuction. The first time when she called me Mama, that was so beautiful.
But this joy wasn't easy to come by. For till 2 years ago, Priyanka's life looked very different. Consulting with BPOs, Priyanka's daily routine was all about prolonged sitting.
Hey, how are you? Initially when I started, I started working as a customer care rep, and I used to be on phone all the time.
You need to make the whole payment, or is it a part?
9 years was totally dedicated to a chair, a phone and a laptop. I was literally famous for the junk food in my drawers. My entire desk used to be full of chips, cold drinks and whatnot.
9 years of a sitting job and bad eating habits, and Priyanka ended up being 15 kilos overweight and with a host of health problems.
I could not move, I was so fatigued, my knees started paining in such a small age, I got spondylitis and I got cervical and I got migraine because of it.
But the reality didn't hit home until 4 years ago when Priyanka got married and found that she could not conceive. Her weight gain, especially around the waistline, had led to polycystic ovarian syndrome, a major cause of infertility among young women these days.
Approximately 20 to 30% of the young Indian women are suffering from PCOS. Sedentary habits and a lot of food intake which has preservatives in them. So all these are lifestyle changes which are contributing. It has a huge impact on the entire future generation because more and more of them are finding it difficult to conceive and huge fertility issues. And most importantly, all PCOs, if left untreated, have a higher chance of becoming a diabetic when they turn 40.
My doctors prescribed me a lot of medicines, but she was very precise that lot of exercise and inch loss was the only solution for me conceiving.
In PCOS, polycystic, so you're making many cysts in the ovary, and most of these cysts are formed as a result of increased fat cells in the body. If you exercise, you burn these fat cells, you decrease the number of cysts in the ovary, you correct your PCOS.
Priyanka had to quit the chair and adopt an active routine.
And one fine day I got to know that because of my good routine, my daily routine, I conceived. I have literally learned it hard way that prolonged sitting is absolutely no-no.
Hi.
You will not realize it right there and then when you are sitting on that chair and minting money, but at the later stage, the way I repent, I don't want anybody to repent.
Priyanka had to fight PCOS or infertility because of the sitting syndrome. But here's what else prolonged sitting can put you at risk of. Prolonged sitting increases your risk of cancer. The American Institute for Cancer Research finds 49,000 cases of breast cancer and 43,000 cases of colon cancer in the US could be linked to inactivity. It also shows that people with sedentary lifestyle are clearly at a higher risk of cancer.
Prolonged sitting causes some hormones to be released in the body, which in turn causes cells to become deformed, and the genetic material gets deformed, which can lead on to cancer.
Prolonged sitting promotes osteoporosis, especially in women. That is because prolonged sitting promotes demineralization of bones. In simple words, you may be taking calcium supplements and rest your worries about your bone health, but if you sit for prolonged hours, the calcium goes away from your bones, and that in the long run could lead to osteoporosis, making it fracture prone. Remember, 1 in 3 urban Indian postmenopausal women have osteoporosis.
Bone is actually a living tissue which is undergoing remodeling. When we exercise regularly, we are actually stimulating the bone remodeling cycles by stimulating various hormones that work at that level. And therefore what happens is that we increase bone formation more than we increase bone loss. So we end up in a positive balance in our bones, and that's why bones actually become healthier with exercise.
Prolonged sitting promotes back pain and joint pain. When you sit for prolonged hours, you will find that your back is automatically slouching after some time. This many a times causes compression of nerves in any of your spinal joint, causing back pain, even slip disc at times. If your eyes are not in level with your computer screen, your neck is usually bent, which may lead to spondylitis in the longer run. Constant typing in this position often leads to carpal tunnel syndrome, and bent legs at the knees discourage proper blood flow through the veins of your legs and could lead to deep vein thrombosis in the long run.
And in men, prolonged sitting with no incidental exercises is leading to serious heart problems.
Hi, I am Sandeep and this is my throne, and I am a victim of sitting syndrome.
Sandeep Kanotra has been a successful restaurateur for the past 20 years. But contrary to what you may think, he spends most of his time at,
People think that my job involves eating away to glory. Well, that is a part of my job, but more than 10 hours I spend glued to my laptop. I do a lot of planning for my restaurants, I do a lot of designing for my restaurants, and that involves a lot of sitting in the office and working from the office.
But despite the sedentary, stressful lifestyle, Sandeep still loved it all. Until his first heart attack at the age of 40. The doctors found he had 100% blocked arteries. Almost a miracle save, he went through angioplasty and survived.
That period was very, very traumatic and painful. And when Sandeep saw my plight actually, then he decided that he has to take care of himself, because he has to take care because of us.
I had to change my lifestyle after that. I did a U-turn. I changed my eating habits. I didn't eat out anymore. I had home cooked food. I started going for evening walks.
But despite that, the next year, Sandeep had another heart attack. This time, the doctors found another artery that was blocked up to 80%, which was ignored the first time. A second angioplasty and 2 stents followed.
I got a real shock, and I asked my doctor. I said, I'm doing everything which is perfect, which is what you told me, and how could this happen to me again? And he said, dude, you didn't listen to me when I told you have to leave your chair.
The missing culprit was Sandeep's sitting hours. That's right, the 8 to 10 hours spent in a sitting position, mostly working on his laptop, were slowly killing him.
When you're sedentary for a very long period of time, your heart is at its lowest activity level. Since the body muscles and legs and arms are not moving, so the return of impure blood from the remaining part of the body is also reduced. So there is stagnation of impure blood, low oxygen level in the remaining muscles of the body, leading to decreased functioning of most of the vital organs.
Research says that those who work out on treadmill for 30 minutes or exercise physically are only active for 3% of the day. Half an hour of gymming burns only about 200 to 400 calories depending on the exercises. What is the solution, you will ask? My job needs me to be at my desk on a chair? The answer is incidental exercises like getting up for a cup of coffee, walking while you talk on the phone, or taking the stairs, or parking your car farther away in the parking lot. This way you keep up your metabolism rate high and burn nearly 1,000 calories without even realizing it.
I now tell my friends that it's okay to work for the chair, but it's much more important to work off the chair.